Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Love, Marriage, and Fantasy. We are here today. I am Coach Star Claiborne. My husband and I are here on this podcast as your global relationship strategist. I'm your love, life, and confidence coach, the co-founder of the Claiborne International Coaching Group, author, and here with me, I have
I am Mr. Claiborne. You can call me Untitled Claiborne or Mr. Claiborne. I am your certified marriage facilitator. I am your relationship intimacy advisor. I am also an author, just like the missus. Together, we make up the Claiborne International Coaching Group. Tonight, we have with us a young man who's going to answer some questions that a lot of our women clients and followers have been asking us about. Well, we're hoping he'll be able to shed a little bit of light on those things. So get ready, because this is going to be something you've been waiting for, just like the other podcasts.
All right, everybody, just like he said, especially you ladies out there. Yes, we're putting you out there. You ladies have been here. You've been on the podcast. You've had questions. You've told your side of the dating scene, right?
Right.
So now we have this awesome entrepreneur here, this brother who is out there now, Mr. Jordan Jean-Jacques, who is going to share with us dating after being divorced and what it is like, what he can add to this whole dating thing that everybody wants to know about here. So welcome, Mr. Jordan. If you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and your story.
Well, let's see. My name is Jordan Jean-Jacques. I'm originally from New York. My family's Haitian. I was born in Haiti. We moved to Brooklyn when I was very, very young. By trade, I have taught general education as well as special education. My passion is special education. I did that for a little over 13 years. In the process, I was married for about 7 years, 3 children. We got divorced. We became the best of friends. As of recently, I've stepped away from special education, the classroom. Now I'm more in a consulting fashion where I speak to parents and I coach parents on behaviors, specifically with, special ed, even general ed, because a lot of times we have a problem with children in general. So I'm in more of a consultative position now. In addition to that, I'm also a motivational coach, and I have an apparel line. My apparel line is geared towards empowering single women and mentoring their sons. And I'm trying to bring awareness. I'm in the process of bringing awareness to consumers. Instead of just buying clothes just to buy clothes, making somebody else rich, get more out of it than just clothes. Get some kind of empowerment out of it.
Okay.
And that's the journey in a nutshell.
Oh, that's great. I like that idea. That idea with your apparel line. So later on, you'll have the opportunity to tell our audience where they can go and make some purchases, and so that they can support you. Okay.
Sure.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. So because you're a lady.
Because I'm a lady.
Yes.
I'm a lady, but I'm not in the dating scene anymore.
Okay, I understand.
But, so I'm gonna throw this one question out there, because a lot of what we've been getting from the women in the dating scene is this lack of mental stimulation, right? So that's what they're saying to us. They're saying that they can't find that man that can mentally stimulate them. So, you being a man that's out there, what would you say that even means to you? Like, I'm curious to know what their perspective has been saying versus what, without you knowing what it means, what do you feel that means to a woman?
Mental stimulation. Well, just by the context of what you're saying, we're in an age right now where everything is geared towards texting, right? 1-2 word texting. Everything is shortened up a little bit. we no longer have elongated sentences. We no longer have thoughtful conversations. Everything is shortened now.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when you meet somebody typically nowadays, depending on the guy, let me not say everybody, depending on the guy, it's more like, you know, yo, what's up? What's going on? How you feeling? How are you? Stuff like that. In terms of a mental stimulation, it's just having a conversation. How was your day today? Depending on your profession, you know, you dig deep into the person to find out their personality, to find out what kind of character traits they have. And I think that's been lost because of the advancement that we've made in technology. I think that's what you're referring to.
That's a good, I'm glad you said something about the technology, because I really think that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, with the women, a lot of them are saying that they're not able to have conversations anymore. There's no conversation about anything anymore. And there's no thinking process. There's no, you know, real conversation about what's going on now, then, you know, or any of that. So I think you made a really, really good point. So, so being that you're out there now, right? What are you finding with the women that is a lacking part on their side in this dating phase?
Well, here's the thing. I had this conversation recently with a friend of mine. You know, yes, there's no conversation. I get that. But also, when you meet somebody nowadays, it's all the one of the first key suggestions that they have, that they put out, is that I want marriage.
That's
You know,
true.
I want marriage. You know, if you're not about marriage, I don't want to have anything to do with you. And I think, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't hear me say there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think everything starts off with a friendship and then builds from there. Now it's up to you,
Right.
which you decide what that friendship, what the confines of that friendship is. But I think everything starts with a friendship. Now, depending on the guy that you approach, if the first few words out of your mouth is I'm looking for something serious and I'm looking for a commitment, chances are you're gonna scare the person away because you guys don't know each other from a hole in the wall.
That's true. That's true. I
Okay.
can, before you ask
Okay.
that question, let me comment on that, because I was in that position once where I was seriously looking for, you know, someone to be in a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
And so my friend, he hooked me up. It was a blind date thing, but she and I decided we would call and talk before we went out on this date.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in the middle of the conversation, I thought to myself, well, now would be a good time for me to tell her, you know, what I'm looking for. So I said my spiel, mentioned that I'm trying to get married. I'm trying to settle down with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard from her again after that. We didn't even make it to the date. So you're right. Being forward like that, you can scare someone away.
Exactly.
Okay, I understand that, but wouldn't you, because from what I'm understanding, with a man, you would prefer for the woman to be upfront and tell you that this is what they're looking for, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think the fashion. Now, I'm not debating the context, more so the delivery.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right? More so
Okay.
the delivery.
Okay, that makes
You know,
sense now.
let's have a few conversations. Let's have a few.
Mm-hmm.
Let's have a few courting conversations, right? Where the man is trying to court you, and you know, in getting to know each other. What are your long-term goals? Well, I'd like to. My goal is to have a family. My goal is to find a relationship and to progress into having a family. But let's have a few conversations before, out of the gate, that's the first couple of words that comes out of your mouth.
Mm.
Well, those conversations they should lead up to a courting stage, but
Absolutely.
I guess because the conversations aren't happening, the men aren't stimulating the brain of these women.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get to that courting stage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that may be a huge problem. I mean, the lack of conversation may be more of a problem than we think it is.
Right.
Yeah. And like you said, with the technology, so what would you suggest for the men so that they can start connecting more with the women as far as being able to mentally stimulate them?
Pick up the phone. Simple, plain and simple. Let's go back to basics. Pick
Right.
up the phone. Instead of sending a text that says HRU or what or WYD, pick up the phone. How you doing? How's your day going today? You know what I mean? And take it from there. Let's not rely on texting. Let's not rely on emojis.
Right. Right. That would take it back to the basics. But I think people have really gotten comfortable with sending an emoji.
Oh my God.
They've gotten comfortable with sending a text message.
And there's nothing.
Go ahead.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Don't hear me say there's anything wrong with it. In moderation, there's nothing wrong with it. If I'm working throughout the day and I found something funny and I want to send it to you, I'll send it to you with a smiley face emoji. You know what I'm saying? But if I have a little bit of downtime, I'm gonna pick up the phone and say, yo, how's your day going? You know what I mean? Or if I have something to share, I'm gonna be like, yo, what's going on with this? You know, let's have a little dialogue. I'm not really a big phone person, I'll admit that, but I will pick up the phone and have a conversation with you, just to feel out the kind of mood that the person is in, because so much is misconstrued in texting and in emails and stuff like that.
Yes.
Whereas when you speak to somebody, you can hear the flexion, you can hear the diction, you can pick up on their energy. And I think a lot of that is lost. From a woman's standpoint, all you're getting is a WYD or, you know, what are you doing? You know, it's quite possible that the guy might genuinely want to know, how are you? How you doing? But that kind of stuff gets misconstrued because it's just words.
Yeah. I think you're right with the, you know, with things getting misconstrued. I literally was just coaching someone a couple of days ago, and we had that conversation with her and her partner. You know, they do a lot of texting, and so it's starting to lead to a lot of things being misunderstood between the two of them. And, you know, one of the suggestions that I made was put the phone down. You know, if it's something that you really need to talk about, you don't text it and just hold on. Use that time to think about solutions of what you can come up with, you know, instead of texting throughout the day and starting to really just piss each other off at the end of the day, because everybody's trying to get their point across and not thinking it through enough, you know.
Exactly.
So I think that's a good point that you're making.
Exactly.
Well, let me say this, because I know one thing that a lot of people have not realized is, if you're texting for more than 10 minutes, that's a phone conversation you should be having.
True.
That's a conversation.
No, any more than 10 minutes, that's a conversation.
That's a conversation.
Yes. So just remember that, everybody.
Yeah,
if
that's a good point.
If your texting is lasting longer than 10 minutes, just go ahead and just go ahead and call that person.
Yeah.
That way you can say what you need to say and really get your point across, versus them possibly misunderstanding what you're trying to say.
That is a really good tip.
I tell you what, in another what, 20, 30 years, a lot of people are going to have arthritis specifically in their digits.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of arthritis in the
I can
digits.
see that.
And I think that's when things are going to start to slowly go back a little bit.
Right. Now they'll probably have the voice command.
Voice to text at that point, yeah.
Wow. You know, people need to think about that, because, you know, getting arthritis, and even when you think about, we talk a lot about the neck, you know, with the looking down, and, you know, what about when you're trying to be intimate with each other, you have these issues later in life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's going to be an issue.
Exactly. You walking around with that Sanford sun in your hands like
right.
That. I mean, so.
Totally messed up the intimacy area, the intimacy times.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I did want to ask you about maybe I'm sorry, when was the last date? Like, how, as far as time, was it last date you had? How long ago was it?
It's honestly, it's been, I want to say it's been years. Only reason because I'm married to my work. I work a whole lot.
Okay.
I work a whole lot. I have a 9-year-old daughter, so she takes up a lot of my time. It's been a while. It's been 2-3 years maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
about 2-3 years.
all right. So, my question was, when the last date you were on, was it something that you arranged, or did she arrange it?
It was something that I arranged.
That you arranged.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we've been talking about how people have gotten uncomfortable with the whole idea of courting. Do you think that because people in general still think that the man should make the first move, right? Men, both men and women, they still kind of have that mindset that the man should be the one to ask the woman out.
Right.
Do you think that that's still affecting people now in 2021, where, you know, women, although they're saying, I want a man that can stimulate me mentally, are they still waiting for the man to make the first move? Are they still waiting for men to initiate things, something as simple as a conversation?
Yes. You know, it's 2021. Equality is huge. But I think we still have these gender roles, right? We still have these gender roles. It doesn't make one sex weaker than the other or more dominant than the other, but we still have these gender roles. And I think women are looking to be courted. I think women are looking to feel appreciated, as opposed to just, you know, hey, all right, let's go do this.
Well, you know, I found that because of the equality that is now present, even more than it was 10 years ago, I've heard some women saying that they don't want to date a weak man. Now, I don't know exactly what they meant by that, but I assume that at some point they encountered a man who they felt wasn't manly enough. But I'm thinking that as I was talking to them, I was thinking that they probably felt that way because they were initiating things instead of the man initiating things. So do you think that the sense of equality that women have embraced, do you think that might be part of the reason why they feel like they can't find a good man?
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. Women, and it goes back to the way I was raised. My father always told me to, you know, you gotta respect women, but a man is always gonna be a man. Somebody with you has to feel safe, and that's where I think they were going with that. You can be with somebody and you don't feel that sense of safety, like you're not safe.
That sense of security.
That sense of security. Now, I don't think it has anything to do with equality, but, you know, people want to feel safe. And I don't think it has to do with women wanting more to be to feel more equal. You can be equal, and a man can still walk on the outside of the street, on the sidewalk of the street, to make you feel a little safer. If there's any kind of danger, you know, there's a certain energy, there's a certain kind of bravado almost that a man has that most women would like to know, that, you know, if something's gonna go down or if something's gonna happen, yeah, I could probably take care of it, but he got my back.
So then we have another problem that could be addressed just through basic conversation.
Yes.
Something like that could be discovered, right, during those early conversations.
Yep.
But because people aren't talking to each other, they
Well,
don't get to touch on that subject of, you know, how would you respond if we were in this type of situation?
Exactly. And, you know, to piggyback off of that, when you have these conversations via text, you can't feed off the person's energy.
True. That's true.
You don't know. I mean, the internet is like a virtual bar. People go in and they say whatever they want. There's nothing to substantiate any kind of truth. They just say whatever they want. Whereas in person, you can look at their eyes. You can look at nonverbal cues. You know what I mean? You can look at posture. You can listen to the flexion. It's a lot different.
That's true. That is very true. So we have a situation now where, well, it seems as though we have a situation now where the um, internet, it has made things easier, as far as us keeping in touch with each other, but it's
Yeah.
also become a problem when it comes to trying to find a mate. Wow. So do you, I know you said it's been a while since you've been out on a date, but do you feel you would want to, no, would you want to try to find a mate using the internet, or would you go old school? And when you're ready to settle down, or if you decide to settle down, would you try and go the internet route, or are you going to keep it old school and try to meet someone?
I'm a big fan of Catfish.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of the TV show Catfish. I'm a people person. I need to see you. I need to talk to you. I need to know that, I need to know that what I'm seeing is real.
Right.
We need to have a conversation. The internet is very, very, very scary to me. There's so much going on behind closed doors that you just don't know. All you see is just this one little window.
That's true.
And you're leaving so much up to chance. So much up to chance.
That is true.
I'm a people person. I'd rather sit down and just have a conversation with you.
It's funny that you mentioned the show Catfish. When I was single, I used to watch that show called Snapped. I don't know if you've ever heard of Snapped.
I've heard of it.
Okay, well, for those of you out there in our audience who don't know, Snapped is a show that talks about women who have committed violent crimes against men. And so I was watching this show and making a list of these women who were on this show so that I would never come across those women. I would stay away from those women. I never told you that?
No.
Yes, I used to watch this show and I had a list.
Yep.
So I would make sure I would never meet those women. So I don't know if that's something that you women may want to try, because there's probably some shows out there to track men who have committed violent crimes. But I'm suggesting that if there's a show out there that does that, you watch that show. Because, like Jordan said, you don't know what type of person you're going to meet if you're trying to meet someone over the internet. You don't know if they're really being themselves. You can't go by just a photograph that they're showing you. You have to be able to meet that person. But even then, when you meet them, if you've been watching one of those type of shows, you might be able to, save yourself some time or even save your life.
Y'all are really cracking me up right now.
But
it's
real.
It's real.
The facades that people put up, it's just, you don't know what you're getting.
I know.
That's right.
You have no idea what you're getting.
I know.
There's a lot of folks out here that need medication.
Yes, there's a lot of folks
more than some medication.
So what are some things you're gonna tell your children about your dating experiences as a man, and the things you experienced as a man? What are some things you're gonna tell them?
Well, I have a 20-year-old son.
Oh, okay.
And we talk all the time about dating. We talk about just different things. Again, just having a conversation with somebody. If you have a conversation with somebody long enough, they will tell you exactly what you need to hear.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? If you just sit down and just have a conversation, a simple conversation, not an interrogation, because I could tell you anything you want to hear in an interrogation. Mm-hmm. It's a simple conversation. You can tell about family life, about their background, about what's going on in their life right now, what kind of person they are. Like, you can tell so much just by having a simple conversation.
That is true. That is so true.
Honestly, I think the first date, and again, I'm a people person, so a lot of people might disagree. Something as simple as going to the park. Go to the park, mm-hmm. go get some ice cream or frozen yogurt, whatever it is, sit in the park and just have a conversation. Yeah. And take it from there. Now, if from that point on you feel like, you know what, I could vibe with you, let's take it one step further. go back to that same park again another night.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Have another conversation.
Go stick with what works. Right?
Exactly.
So after you left your wife, because I know you said you were able to bounce back or recover and get your life back on track after your divorce. But
Yes.
after you left your wife, how long did it take you to get back into the dating field?
It took maybe about 1.5 to 2 years.
Okay, that's
And,
good
and
that you
reason,
waited that long.
and reason being is I wanted to heal. I wanted to be a whole person again. I wanted to be whole again because, we had children. This was my family. So, in essence, I was detached from my family and it played with me psychologically.
Right.
I never wanted to be a weekend dad. I've never been a weekend dad.
A part-time father.
Never that, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it took me some time to get back in. And even then, they were still my family and they were still the priority. So dating kind of took a back seat.
Okay, I can understand that.
So once you did start getting back into dating, what did that look like for you?
It was scary. It was absolutely scary because, again, you're meeting people and everybody wants to put their best foot forward. Right? This goes back to the conversations again. You can sit there and have a conversation with somebody and they'll put their best foot forward. By the second, third, fourth conversation, chances are they might have forgotten a few details from that first initial conversation. That's where character traits start to show themselves.
Yeah,
That's where personalities start to show themselves a little bit. It was scary in the sense that you don't know what you're gonna get. You truly don't know. You don't know if this person is on medication. You don't know if this person has some sort of tumultuous family life, tumultuous history, if they've been incarcerated, whatever the case may be. Because again, most people will put their best foot forward. After a few months of time invested, now you start to see the luggage. You start to see the baggage.
The luggage, not the baggage, the luggage.
Baggage.
We'll say it in a nice way, the luggage.
Oh, that baggage, boy.
Luggage.
Right, yeah, that luggage. You never know.
That's what it is. And a lot of people carry a lot of luggage. A lot of people carry it. And there's nothing wrong with it. But my thing is, be forthcoming with it. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be forthcoming with it and give the person the option, the choice to, I'm going to keep riding with this. Well, you know what? This isn't for me. I think we should just stop right here.
Okay, let me ask you a question based on what you just said as far as, being forward with them and allowing that person to decide if they want to keep dealing with you. During that period after your divorce and you got back into dating, do you think that the women were giving you a fair chance to get to know them? Because I'm sure you mentioned, hey, I'm recently divorced, right? Were they giving you a fair chance after you made that statement, or were you running into women who were saying, okay, no, I don't want to deal with this guy because he has luggage?
I got luggage. Well, at that time I was very forthcoming. I would tell you, 2 years ago, this is what happened. This is what I did to attribute to this. And right now, this is my family. So this is like a package deal. This is me and my family. So I put everything out in the forefront. And I didn't have a problem with it. I found that people respected me. The women respected me a lot more by just putting that stuff out and giving them the option to say yes or no. And if they said yes, good, we're in a good place. If they said no, then it was okay. I understand. I completely understand.
That's great. I'm glad that it happened for you that way. So ladies, just keep that in mind. If you come across a man who has gone through a situation such as Jordan's, be open-minded. Give that guy an opportunity to get to know you, or give yourself an opportunity to get to know the guy. You never know. You may have your diamond in the rough, and I'm saying it like that because right at that moment he's going through some things, but he's trying to polish himself. So be open-minded. If you meet a guy who is going through a recent divorce, or if he just recently broke up with his girlfriend, don't be so quick to shut him down and dismiss him. You may have somebody who might be good for you, but you won't know if you don't give him a chance. So be open-minded and give the guy a chance.
Well, let me add to that, because as much as I love my women and they can say whatever they want to say, women, you ladies have got to stop expecting so much from the men and you're not doing the same. Because just like he's saying, yeah, he had a little luggage, right? Like he's putting it out there on the table. You know, you can't be that woman that comes and say you want this man to be truthful, and then all of a sudden you're walking away when you may not have the same luggage, but you got luggage too.
Right.
You know, and you're holding back on the things that you need to be putting on the table at the same time. And I think that alone stops a lot of good relationships from developing, because one person is being forthcoming and the other person is trying to hide the fact that they do have things behind the scenes. So I think that's very important for the women to understand, because I know some women personally who will say, oh, he had all this stuff going on, and I'll ask them, so you didn't have anything going on? Or you did have something going on? Be real, right? So, you know, I love my women, but I also know sometimes women can be a little out there. I'm just gonna say out there, for lack of a better term. Yeah, yeah. You know, you can't expect something from your partner and you're not willing to give back. You know.
I'm happy it came from you and not from us.
I mean, it's true. Right. Yeah, and I'm sure y'all are happy it came from a woman, but it's true, because again, I know women who, and I'm just straight up with them. I'm like, so you didn't have nothing going on? You perfect? I'm just saying, you perfect? No, you're not. You're not perfect.
That is true. That's true. Okay, so how did your after the divorce, did you have any trouble with your wife? Was she, you know, when she found out you was dating again, did you run into that problem where she was trying to, you know, stop you from moving forward with your life, with meeting someone else? Was there any of that going on? Any distractions from her?
See, here's the thing. My situation was very unique in that after the divorce, I told her that anything I had was hers. Anything that she wanted, I would give her. Because I always felt like that was still my family. You know what I mean? Whether we're together or not, we're still a family. You might be over here and I'm here, but we're still a family. In terms of dating, I thought it would be disrespectful to mix the two lives together. By that, I mean, my children never met anybody unless there was marriage on the table. I would never bring the person I'm dating to where someplace that my wife was, because out of respect for her. You know what I mean? That's just how I was raised. I did my best to keep both lives separate. You know what I mean? As I tell you that the guys that she was dating that I knew them, I met them. You know what I mean? I wanted to meet them because I wanted to put some fear into them, but that's it.
and let them know that you were around.
I'm here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but, you know, and I didn't have a problem with that, but as far as my life, I kept everything completely separate. So she never saw anything, never heard anything. Everything was completely separate. I never thought that the two should ever mix. So I never had any problems or anything like that.
So with you keeping them separate and just on the dating side of it, did you ever have issues from the women you were dating when there were situations where you were going places where your ex-wife was? Was there ever any confrontation or anything coming from the women about why you couldn't be around or why they couldn't come around or anything like that?
They weren't happy. They weren't happy, you know, but again, this is something that I have never hidden. I've put out in the forefront that I want these two lives separate. The only thing that you should even remotely know about or be a part of is my children, and that's if marriage is on the table. There's been instances where I couldn't go here with this person I'm dating because my ex-wife needed this from me. You know, my mentality is if she's happy, my children are happy. So I always kept that in the back of my mind. And this was always my disclaimer. This is my family. You know what I mean? I understand we're trying to build something, but this is still my family. You know, I'm gonna do my best to accommodate you, but I do my best to keep them separate because I've known my wife for, at the time, over 20 something years. You know what I mean? So this was more than just a spouse to me. This was like my best friend. So to me, respect meant not flaunting anything in your face or not trying to make you feel insecure or anything of that nature.
But do you think that if you're dating someone and you bring them, if you're seriously dating that person, do you think that is necessarily flaunting that person? You're seriously dating that person and you feel something for that person, then what would that really be flaunting that person in front of your ex?
Not at all, not at all. But I made it a point to just keep it separate. Like I intentionally kept it separate.
Okay.
It wasn't necessarily flaunting. I don't think it was, but in my mind, I just didn't want to mix the two.
Okay.
And that's good. And I think because you kept those boundaries there, or you set those boundaries, I think the women you were dating, they respected your boundaries, and because they respected that what you were doing, they didn't try to make an issue out of you, not being available for them when you had to go do things for your family.
Right.
And
right.
then another reason why I think they respected you is because we teach people how to treat us. And so from the very beginning, you made it clear, hey, look, I'm, recently divorced or whatever, but I still have these obligations to my family, and you need to understand that if we're going to date. So when a man tells you that, ladies, you have to understand what type of man you're dealing with. You're dealing with a man who honors his obligations. So you should respect what it is he's telling you and respect the things that he has to do.
I'm going to disagree.
Okay, good. So tell us why do you disagree?
I'm going to disagree that just because a man is telling you that you're talking to a man who respects his obligations. And I'm disagreeing with that because there have been situations where I've talked to women and they've gone through the exact same thing where the man is saying, no, you can't come around my ex-wife, but at the same time, it turns out that he's still messing around with his ex-wife.
Okay, but right? I wasn't talking about ex-wife. I was talking about more specifically being handling the responsibilities to his children. I wasn't talking about.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't talking about being obligated to his ex-wife. I was talking about to the children. So let me clear that up.
Okay.
If he's saying he still has these obligations to his children, then you should respect that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, children always come first. The children are going to be the first priority because they're the little ones. They're the ones they can't care for themselves, and they should always be first. But that was the reason I was asking about, did you ever come across any confrontation when asked, when telling them that they couldn't go into the same place as your ex-wife, right? If you're seriously dating, of course, not when you first meet, there's a process to that whole thing when kids are involved for sure. But, if you ever get to that seriously dating phase, what then would be the issue with bringing that person into the same room with the ex-wife?
It wouldn't be an issue. It just never happened. I don't think it would be an issue whatsoever, but it just never happened. Brooklyn, New York, it's huge. It's a huge place. Maybe she might have spotted me. There. When it came to something like that, there wasn't an issue. Okay. But it just never happened.
And I still stand on what I said. I think a major reason why it that contributed to that never happening is because you made it clear how the way things were when you met these women.
Yes.
You made it perfectly clear. This is how I am. This is what I have to deal with. And if you can accept that, then we can continue to date.
We can move on away from each other for sure.
It goes back to that same thing about the conversation, right? If somebody tells you that, the person, you see what kind of man this person is. If they're taking care of their responsibility and they have that much love for their responsibility, then that's going to transfer onto you. So that kind of shows you that person's character right there, just from having that conversation.
Right, right, right. Okay, so I have to ask this because I deal with sexual intimacy. So if you don't feel like answering this question, just say you'd rather not answer the question.
Okay.
Hey, so when you were out on dates with these women, was it difficult for you to be sexually intimate with them after struggling with trying to get back into the dating field? And if
Um,
it was, did you have some women who was trying to pressure you to have sex?
it was absolutely difficult. It was absolutely difficult because you go from being married to somebody for X amount of years to just meeting people and all kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
It's you gotta switch your mindset.
Right.
Um, did I find people that were trying to kind of peer pressure me? Yes, I did, but I've never been one to succumb to peer pressure. If I don't feel something, it's just not gonna happen. But I think
Hmm.
it was absolutely difficult. That's one of the reasons it took so long for me to get back into it, because I didn't want to go through the whole maze again of learning somebody, knowing somebody, and everything else that goes along with that, being in that arena.
Mm. So why didn't you want to go through that? So, because I'm asking because it's possible for us as humans to meet someone who we form an instant connection with. That's possible.
Uh-huh.
I've experienced it. I know people who have experienced it. So was it that you just felt you just wasn't ready to go through trying to get to know somebody again, or were you still struggling with that fear of putting yourself back out there?
I just wasn't ready. I wasn't a whole person. I wasn't a whole man at the time. Emotionally, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to get back in. I wasn't ready to let somebody in. I wasn't ready to sit down and explore the different possibilities. So rather than play games with somebody, I just didn't even bother.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did you feel like you had lost some of the respectful man that you really were, and felt like if you had to put yourself back out there earlier, would you have been someone different than you would have liked to have been with these women?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because at that point, I'm on a rebound. I'm on a
Right,
rebound. I'm looking for a quick fix. I'm
right.
looking for something. I'm looking for a here and now as opposed to longevity.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
That would make a big difference. So when you got back out into the dating field, did you have an idea of what type of woman you wanted?
Yes.
Was that woman based on your ex, or was any part of what you wanted based on your ex-wife
Oh,
or things that
absolutely.
your ex-wife used to do?
Absolutely. There were qualities that I was looking for that my ex-wife had, but there were also qualities that my ex-wife had that I was looking for that made sure nobody else had.
Right, right.
But yeah, absolutely. Again, being married for so long, you learn so much. You know the qualities that you can that you're looking for, and you know what the selling points are. You know
Mhm.
exactly certain characteristic traits that you're looking for, and then you also know what the deal breakers are as well. I'm not an argumentative person, not by far. If we have some sort of disagreement, that's exactly what it's going to be, a disagreement. We'll disagree, and then we'll move on from that. We'll come to
Mhm.
some sort of resolution, whether it's we agree to disagree or we come to some sort of resolution, and then we move on from it. Um, some people aren't like that.
True.
That is so true.
That
Some
is
people
that is
just
so
want to
very true.
argue and
Yes.
cause drama and
No,
raise
some
their
people,
voice.
a lot of people like that fire. They like that fury.
Hmm.
You know,
Ooh.
Yeah, that is true. So after this podcast, Jordan, there might be some women who reach out to us and they say, "Hey, that brother
Hey,
right
I want
there,
to
I
talk
think I want to,
to
so so
yeah,
how will you react to that?"
truth be told, I think I might have angered a few. A few.
them. I don't think you've angered our women. I think you've given them some perspective, really, at the end of the day.
Okay, okay,
Those
Absolutely.
women who, will say the women who have an open mind.
okay, okay,
The women who have an open mind, I believe you truly brought some perspective to the table.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's
Okay,
always
but you gotta,
we got away from it. You
The
never got around to answering the question. Because they're looking. There's a lot of women out there who's looking for an accomplished man like
that
yourself.
can mentally stimulate them.
Right.
Right.
So you get somebody coming to your DM or sending you an email or something. How are you going to deal with that?
I don't know. I mean, hello. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. I know. I appreciate you. I appreciate your honesty. I do. I appreciate your honesty because you never know what might happen, right?
No, you don't.
You never know. You never know what might happen. But like Star just said, it would be best if you just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Don't try and force anything. Just see what happens.
That's the best thing. Just go with it.
Yeah.
Have you initiated all of your dating escapades? Like, have you been the person to approach the woman every time, or have you been approached?
I've been approached.
How did that make you feel?
Felt pretty good. I felt pretty
Made
good.
you feel like you still had it, huh?
Yeah, I felt pretty good. I didn't brush my hair that day. I felt pretty good.
So would you agree that it's nothing wrong with the woman approaching the man, because we have these women who are living in the traditional world that the man has to always approach the woman?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with going after what you want. It all depends on the kind of energy that you put out. There's a misnomer about if a woman approaches you, she's desperate and things of that nature. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with just starting a conversation with somebody. There's absolutely nothing wrong with just having a conversation. Nothing more. Nothing, let's go home and just hi, how you doing? Let's have a conversation.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
All right, ladies, y'all heard that from a man. So stop being so scared.
There's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It may go somewhere, it may not.
Right. You will never know if you don't start the conversation, if you don't say something. So on that, let me ask you, what's the slickest? What was the smoothest line that a woman said to you, and you gave in? It was like, okay, yeah, that was kind of clever. What was something like that a woman had said to you?
You know what? I was tricked. I was getting off the train in Brooklyn. I was tricked, and it took me a while to figure out I was tricked. I was coming from work. I got off the train. I think I was daydreaming or something. And this young lady passed by me. She said, "You don't remember me," and then kept on walking.
Oh,
So,
clever.
and I walked up to her. "What do you mean? You don't remember me?" So we started talking. 2 or 3 weeks later, I realized I've never met you. I've never met you. That was your way of getting in.
Right.
That is
and it worked. It absolutely worked.
I can see that.
I can definitely see that working.
It worked. She was very, very theatrical about it. Like she was offended that I didn't know her. I'm racking my brain like, where do I know you from? And a couple of weeks later, realized I've never met you. I don't know you. And
wow.
she later on admitted to it.
Wow, that's clever. That's
very clever.
How did she go about admitting it? I'm curious. Like, how did she bring it up and say, "Hey, remember when I said?"
You know what? No, it was bothering me for so long that I kept on bringing it up. Weeks later, I bring it up. Like, where do I know you from? I've never worked with you. I didn't go to school with you. I don't know you. She said, "Oh, I made it all up." Oh, okay, all right.
All right. Ladies, there you go. There's a tip for you.
Sometimes you gotta be creative.
Very good tip.
What'd you say, Jordan?
Sometimes you just gotta be creative.
Absolutely. Sometimes
you gotta be creative. Gotta bring out the person's personality.
Yes. I can see that working on almost any guy.
Yeah.
Especially if he thinks she's attractive.
Yeah.
It's going to work.
Absolutely. I'm looking at her like, I know you. Where do I know you from? So we walked, we exchanged numbers, and even through the process of exchanging numbers, it didn't dawn on me that if I knew you, how come I don't have your number? But we're exchanging numbers, and I'm going through the motions, and lo and behold, weeks later, I don't know you.
I can see that. She must have been an attractive woman.
Yes.
But while y'all exchanging numbers, you still went along with everything. You're thinking, man, yeah, I do want to have a number. So
yeah, at some point I met you. I mean, I must have met you at some point in my life. But
so there you go, ladies. There's something that you can try out. You could try using that line, and it may work for you. As a man, I would say that you have a good chance of getting to know that guy if you use that approach. But the key message behind that is to step forward and say something. Yeah. You see a guy that you find attractive, just step forward and say something. It doesn't have to be something that's going to make you seem intelligent. Just say something. Saying something will start the process, and then maybe he'll take it over from there. He'll start leading the conversation, but step forward and say something. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
I got a question. So if they step forward and the guy doesn't take the bait,
that's a good point.
Whatever.
But at least then you have two choices. You could either say never mind and walk away, or you can try and come up with something else to say. But the point is, you don't want to just give up. If you're going to take the first step, you got to accept that you may have to take another step. So just be ready to take that second step if he doesn't react the way that you think he's going to react.
And also not to allow your self-confidence to drop, because a lot of women lose their self-confidence because they don't get the response that they are looking for and searching for. Right. And so they start looking at themselves and downplaying themselves. So I think that's really important. If you don't get that response, it's a numbers game. Keep going.
That's right.
Keep going. Even you think about being an adult, how many dates have you had up until this adult phase, right? How many successful ones did you have versus the ones that were just crappy? It's still a numbers game, but it doesn't mean that you should start lacking the self-confidence that you need in yourself.
That's right.
I
so
agree.
Just keep that in mind. Don't let your confidence take a hit just because he doesn't react the way you think he's going to react.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to start wrapping this up, Jordan. Now, usually we ask our guests to leave our audience, our listeners, with some parting words. So what are some things that you'd like to share with the ladies that's listening out there to kind of give them some encouragement, or maybe give them some tips on how to approach the men? Well, and the men, yes.
Leave the men with something to go out and date with, okay? Because these women are saying they're struggling right now.
As far as the women, I think I would say listen. When you have these conversations, listen. If a guy's telling you he has kids and he hasn't seen a kid in a long time, listen. If the guy's telling you he has tumultuous relationships and the relationships with his family and things like that are not too keen, listen. Listen intently. Get past the physical appearance. Listen intently. Listen for a purpose. I assure you, you will hear exactly what you want to hear, what you need to hear to make your decisions to go forward. And as far as, and this is still for the women, people treat you the way you allow them to treat you. If you start off allowing somebody to not pick up the phone and call you or not have a conversation with you and things of that nature, you're just building on that. So, however it is you want to be treated, let that be known how you would like to be treated. Don't allow something that you don't like or you don't want. As far as the men, I would say just have a conversation. You know, it's okay to text. It's okay to send a little emoji here and there, but sometimes it's okay to just have a quick conversation. Like I said, I'm not a phone person because I spend a lot of time on the phone, on business calls and Zoom and stuff of that nature. But I will pick up the phone to have a 5-minute conversation with somebody, or a 10-minute conversation with somebody. You know, and especially with COVID now, you know, you don't have to go to an expensive restaurant. You don't have to go to any place in particular. Go to the park. You know what I mean? Go to the park, walk around. Go to the dog park if you guys have dogs. If you don't have a dog park, go to a trail, have a conversation. Something as simple as just over ice cream or something.
That's right. That's right. Okay, and I know I said we're going to wrap this up, but you just mentioned something, and I remember one of our clients asking us, where is a good place to meet single men? So can you give a little bit of advice on that? What would you tell ladies? Where can they go to meet some single men?
You can go to the supermarket. You can go to the laundromat. You can go to a department store. You know, go to a department store. Go to the car wash. You know, that's we're always out there.
All right.
We're always out there detailing our cars. So
that's
a good one. That's a real good one right there.
Go to the car wash.
Friday nights and Saturdays are good for the car wash.
You know, you might want to circle around the gas station a little bit. You know, somebody might be outside pumping gas.
Right.
You know, it's very different in, you know, being from New York, there's a lot of foot traffic. There's sidewalks, people take public transportation. So it's easy to just run up, you know, see somebody and strike up a conversation. But here it's a little bit different because there's no foot traffic. Everybody's driving.
Yeah,
so we got to get creative with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Those are all good.
And before we close out, I wanted to make a point when you were giving the tips. Like you said, you're not a phone person, but from the women, I would say we appreciate the fact that even though you're not a phone person, that you show that interest by taking 5 minutes to pick up the phone. But on the other end, for the women to listen to what he said when he said he's not a phone person because he's on the phone all day, and taking that into consideration and trying to find out, okay, if this person is not calling you and talking to you the way that you want them to, how else can you all have that conversation and connect if they're not a phone person? Because there are many people who, especially now during COVID, they're working from home. You're an entrepreneur, so of course it's 10 times worse for you because you're really hustling, trying to get things going. But a lot of people are on the phone all day. So at the end of 5, 6, 7 o'clock comes, they just want to chill and relax, you know? But I think for the women hearing that, maybe it'll add some perspective as to why, you know, when they're, as men would say, nagging about the phone call, right? Why is it not happening? Well, trying to figure out that why is important instead of just discounting them and saying, you know what, no. You know, again, you could be missing a great person in the midst of all of your no's of what you say you don't want. So that was a good point. So.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and wrap it.
Yep, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Before we go, Mr. Jordan Jean-Jacques, please tell everybody where they can find you on social media, how they can connect, how they can get some of that awesome apparel. Talk to us a little bit about that so we can wrap it up.
Okay. Is that one of your pieces that you're wearing right there?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
is.
You
want to stand up so they can see that, so they can
all right. So, so this actually reflects. So if you take a picture of it, you just see this. This is an ancient symbol, and in a nutshell, what it means is follow your journey. Everybody's path is never straight, but it always leads you to where you need to be. That's what it means.
All right.
Okay.
This is an ancient artifact, and that's what we basically do. Weird color is back again.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, that's what basically the apparel line is. You know, I'm a motivational coach, So everything I do is geared towards motivation and inspiration. So my mission is just to educate people. Instead of spending money on just clothes, get more for your money. You know what I mean? Nowadays we have options. There's apparel companies all over the place. I understand that my message might not be for everybody, but get the most you can out of spending your money. What we do is we put motivational messages, inspiration behind every single piece of clothing that we have. Even our label says "You are awesome" on it.
All right.
I think words are powerful. Words are prophetic. You know, and I think we don't hear that enough, especially the single parents, the single mothers, you know, the single mothers raising sons. Another side of the business is that we mentor young men. You know, where we partner up young men with professional older men so they can have that dialogue back and forth. You know, so you can find out what a police officer really does. Ask him those tough questions
Right.
that he otherwise wouldn't be able to ask anybody else. The line is a unisex line, so it's geared for men and women. And every single shirt, every single hoodie, every single hat has some kind of inspirational message on it, whether it's faith, whether it's trust your journey, whether it's change begins with me. Before I start to look around for change, it starts with me.
That's awesome. Okay, so and how can they get in touch with you or find you on social media?
I am on TikTok. I am on Instagram, Facebook. The website for my apparel is my name is jordanjeanjacques.com. It's a long name, so I don't know how.
In the corner.
Yeah, it's in the corner, and,
Okay.
and we'll post
put it on there.
we'll post it in the descriptions of this episode as well. We'll put
Okay. Yeah, it's, you know, I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook group geared specifically towards supporting single mothers and mentoring their sons. You know, you don't have to be a single mother. You don't have to be the son of a single mother to come in and just uplift each other. You know, it's tough. It's tough. I raised 3 kids on my own when my wife passed away, and it's tough. I had no idea. Truthfully, to be told, I never had any idea how difficult it is to be a single parent. So, you know, now that I know, now that I'm a lot more seasoned, I'm lending my expertise and I'm trying to partner different people up just to uplift single mothers specifically and single fathers as well. So find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. It's all my name.
All right, that's great. That's good branding.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And I know the single moms would appreciate that, especially raising men and trying to raise men in whatever this is out here now.
Yeah,
whatever.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's tough being married and trying to raise a young man.
Yeah.
So, you know, or even a child, period, because it's just a lot different. So, but we certainly appreciate everything. We appreciate you coming on, giving perspective, sharing your story, and definitely sharing your message, which is super powerful. We will definitely continue to be connected. And hopefully you'll come back on another show.
Absolutely. I hope I didn't anger anybody too much.
We'll find out after the podcast airs. We'll find out after the episode goes live. But we do appreciate you, and we hope that you have a wonderful night. All right, everybody.
All right. It was good talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Have a good night. All right, take care.
Bye-bye.